Well, Dave, you've taken 2 points off one of your promotion rivals this afternoon. Should it have been maximum points haul though today?
No, I don't think so. Listen, I said to the players at half time, and the game panned out in the way that I said it would. I thought it was. I'd love to sit here or stand here and say it was a game of little quality. I think it was a game of zero quality. Yeah. I think that it was a really, really poor game for two teams that are much, much better than that. Reminded me of a playoff type game where I get it's difficult, but players on both teams weren't really brave enough to be the one that maybe made the mistake that led to something. And yeah, that wasn't a good watch. Not an enjoyable watch at all. Because I think we're better. And listen, I knew today would be a tight game. And if you told me that the game would be 0-0, but we'd have seen the best versions of us and we'd have seen the best versions of them, then maybe I wouldn't be stood here saying it. I'm not by any way taking away from the point. The point's valuable. The clean sheet is obviously good for us, but yeah, not a good watch.
I think everyone might agree with you on the first half, but in the second half, you did create some big chances. Kyle Wotton early on had a couple of chances.
Yeah, but balls flung in. We know set pieces will be important. I thought our set pieces were poor overall. The one that Wotton hits the bar, listen, it's a scramble and a thing that drops and it hits the bar. And it's a chance. It's an instinctive chance. We've not created enough for them by putting the ball in good areas. And listen, I might watch it back and say both teams defended well and all them bits, and which is fine. But I just, again, in the immediate aftermath, think that we maybe could have. I would like to have done a little bit more. You work so hard to get to this point. Now's not the time to sort of go into your shell and not do what we've asked to do and what we work on and what we've trained to do. Listen, if I'd turned around there and said, listen, just be completely risk averse and play back to front and don't have anything to do with playing through, then fine. I've probably picked the wrong team if that's the case in terms of how we were going to go about it, because we've got personnel probably more suited to doing that weren't starting the game. So let's say positives to take, but loads to learn from. Especially when you get to, like I say, to this point, because I said at half time this game, the way it's going will either end 0-0, that's easy to say it is 0-0, or it'll be a single goal either end, and it'll be a toss of a coin as to who will get that goal. That's what it felt like. That's what can happen when you get towards the back end of the season. And again, you look at the playoffs, everyone will say it's a lottery. It's a lottery because teams don't play as they've played through the other 46 games. There's too much jeopardy on them, and they become a toss of a coin as to who can win. And it might be a bad decision, might be a moment of magic, it might be a mistake, but all them things normally decide that those types of games. We've got to learn from today with the group that we've got, and look forward to next week now.
It was an interesting formation that you went with today, a back four and then a midfield box, if you like, ahead of them. What was the thinking? Why did you particularly think for this game that was going to work?
We wanted, we knew that they'd be really aggressive with the press, and we wanted to be really aggressive with our press in terms of how we went about it. They're the best team aerially, statistically, in the division, so we knew it might be a game of that. They've obviously gone with the previous games. They've gone with Godden rather than Miles Leaburn, and normally they'll bring Leaburn and Aniki on around 60 minutes and change the dynamic of the game. So they've been less direct. Obviously, with Leaburn playing, you thought they were going to be direct. We were always going to potentially be a 4. Yes, they like to roll Tyrese Campbell in from a side. We should get more joy from our right back. We didn't with either of them, and that was an area where we knew we could get some success, and we got nothing from it. So that needed to be better. And then ultimately, if they're coming at us, the likelihood is you're going to at times play beyond that and look to counter press and win second ball. So to have Campsey and Will in front of Ollie and Beatty, if you like, meant they could drop on that. Our width was going to come, and our threat, if you like, from wide needed to come from our full-backs. As I said, right back more than left back, because Thierry Small would always follow Ryan back in, but we still thought we could get, like I say, some avenues of success from that type of thing. And then if they drop back in and we always end up with a 4v3 in the middle of the pitch, we then potentially could build through Beatty and Ollie. That's what you hope a game will look like. It looked nothing like that. So sometimes you pull your hair out because the game should have looked like that and could well have looked like that. On the flip side of it, we knew that us getting in through a right-back channel and them leaving Tyrese Campbell to, I won't say cheat, but almost not have any responsibility defensively, so that when they win the ball in transition, they can set him free. I thought that might happen. It didn't happen as much as I thought because we didn't use the ball well enough and we didn't commit to going to do that. We were too safe. So that was, like I say, thought process around it. Our shape can change within that personnel. If we want to flip Will to Mark round and it look like a back three, a 5-3-2, they do a very similar thing in terms of their personnel. So. Yeah, there's always, I suppose, a bit of a chess match goes on. You ultimately then rely on the players to go and carry it out. Like I say, I think both teams from minute one looked like two teams that didn't want to lose today. And I can't speak on behalf of Nathan, but from our perspective, that certainly wasn't the plan. It certainly wasn't what we wanted.
Could you have had a penalty maybe after 5 minutes? Callum Camp's going down.
We could have. There was some strange decisions that you don't get sick of talking about referees. There's loads of things happen. So even in the first few minutes, there Tyrese Campbell goes through. He's offside. He puts the ball in the net after the whistle. Well, 4 months ago that was a booking. No matter what happens. So there's potentially lads in the league and lads in our team that got booked for that 4 months ago. Yet now it doesn't matter, or a different referee does a different thing. That can't be the case. Again, the penalty is, I've not seen it back, so it's hard to comment, but is apparently coming together. I'd love to have been a centre half playing today and not a centre forward, because from minute one, the centre forwards have been manhandled. Their number 16, the left back, he's doing well, has just wrestled Woods to allow another of their centre half to go and head the ball. So again, you'd be stupid not to go along that. So again, information from us is just grab Miles Lieber and don't let him head the ball and let someone else go and head the ball. There's then a frustration from Charlton's bench, but that's what happened all game. In my eyes, the fouls. But if you're not going to give them, then teams are going to do what or play the game the referee thinks he's playing, and that was the case. Listen, there were other things that happened. Again, if I'm going on from Tuesday, I'm delighted that a refereeing decision hasn't decided the outcome of a game. And I've always said that if that's the case, there's a positive part of me. Are we all going to have an opinion and contest a throw in, a potential handball that he's given on Tanto that we don't think is handball? Of course we are. But there's human error involved in it again. If there's glaring human error, that's when it becomes a bit more of an issue.
There's been a lot of talk about this clutch of 3 games, if you like, and it's a solid start, a clean sheet. I know you'd be pleased with that today, but Bolton, of course, away next weekend. When you beat them 5-0 here, very different shape, very different personnel, and now a very different manager, and they haven't half improved, haven't they, under Stephen Schumacher? What do you think the change is for Bolton Wanderers that's made them such a threat now?
I'm not sure they've changed massively in personnel. I think they have the scope to play in different shapes, which they have done previously with the dynamic they have, whether it's their wing backs or not. At times they've gone into a back four, but more around opposition than anything else. Some players have moved on and they've brought some players in, but regardless of what team they play and what shape they play, you always expect it to be a tough game going there. But it's a great game to play in with what is a brilliant atmosphere. We'll obviously travel with whatever tickets they give us, and they'll fill the rest of the ground out. So we'll look forward to that. I suppose, we have to learn from today, and you've got to go and be able to play in those environments and play in those types of games. That these should be the things that make you, I suppose, want to be a footballer. You don't want to play in empty stadiums with games that are meaningless. You want to play in the important games. So we'll absolutely look forward to that. We'll work hard this week to look at what we need to do. Like I say, we watch bits, but we're very much, this game's done now, look forward to the next game. We'll go there to try and win.
That's brilliant. We're off to a beer garden for some sunshine and a drink. And what are you doing? What are you going to do with your early finish?
Yeah, listen, I'll probably end up somewhere having something to eat. We were supposed to go out with friends after the game, but they've not been able to come because of illness. But I suppose you're always going to look at what the results are happening elsewhere.
Yeah.
Relax again tomorrow, do a bit of work and a bit of prep stuff, and then back to it Monday, where, like I say, we'll work hard to try and put a plan in place to go and back up a good result today, but hopefully a performance that gives us a better chance of winning next week.
Good man, enjoy your weekend, Dave.
Cheers, John. Thanks,
Thank
mate.
you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.